Welcome to Haunted Syntax. Today's story is not just a tale of murder. It's a glimpse into a terrifying contradiction, how a man can commit one of the most gruesome crimes imaginable, cannibalism, and then become a media celebrity. This is the true and deeply disturbing case of Issei Sagawa, a man who killed, mutilated, and ate a woman, then walked free, became famous, and lived openly in society for decades. Let's unravel how this actually happened. And why the world watched in horror. Who is Issei Sagawa? Issei Sagawa was born in 1949 into a wealthy and influential family in Kobe, Japan. His father was the president of Kurita Water Industries and had deep political connections. On the outside, Sagawa's life seemed privileged, comfortable, even protected. But inside, Issei was different. From a young age, he later confessed, he had fantasies of cannibalism. He said it started in first grade, when he saw a man's thigh and felt a strange, erotic urge to bite into it. By the time he reached high school, these fantasies had become obsessions. He claimed he was physically weak, small, and insecure. He stood only about 4'9" tall as an adult. To him, consuming someone was a way to absorb their power, their beauty, a disturbing logic that would define his life. The move to Paris in the late 1970s, Sagawa moved to Paris to study literature at the Sorbonne. He was fascinated with European art, poetry, and language. But beneath the scholarly image, his dark urges were intensifying. While living in Paris, Sagawa began frequenting sex workers and experimenting with prostitutes, not for sex, but to find the right victim. He even admitted to bringing sex workers to his apartment with the intent to kill and eat them, but he claimed he couldn't go through with it because he would get too nervous. It wouldn't be until 1981 that he would act out his fantasy, for real. The murder of Renée Hartevelt. Issei became friends with a classmate, Renée Hartevelt, a 25-year-old Dutch student. She was described as intelligent, outgoing, and warm. Sagawa was infatuated, not just with her intellect, but with the idea of consuming her. He invited her to his apartment under the pretense of translating German poetry. He said it was part of his research. She trusted him. On June 11, 1981, as Renée sat on the floor reading poetry aloud, Sagawa quietly retrieved a .22 caliber rifle and shot her in the back of the neck. She died instantly. What happened next is almost too horrific to describe. Sagawa raped her corpse, then used a butcher's knife to dismember her body. He cut off pieces of flesh, especially from her buttocks, thighs, and breasts, and began eating them. Sometimes cooked. Sometimes raw. He described the taste as melt-in-your-mouth tuna. He photographed the process extensively, creating a grisly photo collection of Renée's body at every stage. For 2 days, he lived with the mutilated corpse, eating parts of her body, sleeping next to her remains. Eventually, he placed what was left of her in 2 suitcases, intending to dispose of them in Bois de Boulogne, a wooded park on the outskirts of Paris. But Sagawa was caught almost immediately. Witnesses had seen him dragging the suspicious, blood-stained suitcases, and called the police. When authorities opened the bags and found human remains, they arrested him on the spot. The investigation and confession at the police station, Issei confessed immediately. He didn't hesitate. He explained in calm, clinical detail how and why he killed Renée. He said he wanted to absorb her energy, that he felt inferior to her beauty and brilliance. Eating her, to him, was a way to keep her with him forever. The case shocked France, and the world. It wasn't just the act of cannibalism, it was the lack of remorse. He told police, "I killed her to eat her flesh." But despite this chilling confession, what happened next was even more shocking. Declared insane. And set free instead of being tried and sentenced, French psychiatrists declared Sagawa legally insane. He was found unfit to stand trial, and instead of prison, he was sent to the Paul Gérot Hospital in France. But in 1984, after 2 years of psychiatric evaluation, French authorities deported him to Japan. And here's the legal twist that shocked everyone. Once in Japan, authorities had no power to hold or charge him. Why? Because the French court had never formally charged him with a crime, he was declared insane, not guilty. And because French legal records were sealed, Japanese prosecutors couldn't access the evidence. So just like that, Issei Sagawa was released from custody in Japan. A free man. Despite openly admitting to murdering, mutilating, and eating a woman, he never spent a day in prison. Becoming a celebrity, but what came next defied all logic. Instead of hiding in shame, Issei Sagawa became a media sensation in Japan. He published books, including a detailed memoir of the murder titled In the Fog, complete with gruesome photographs. It sold tens of thousands of copies. He became a guest on talk shows, often describing the taste of human flesh in shocking detail. He reviewed restaurants, comparing dishes to the delicacy of human meat. He even starred in pornographic films, playing a cannibal character, a grotesque parody of his real-life crime. While many were horrified, others were morbidly curious. In Japan's media, he became known as the celebrity cannibal. This wasn't just tasteless, it was traumatic for Renée Hartevelt's family, who watched in disbelief as their daughter's killer profited from her death. And the law couldn't stop him. The final years and death in time, public interest faded. Sagawa's fame turned into infamy, and then into isolation. In the 2000s, he was jobless, broke, and living off welfare. He suffered several strokes, leaving him physically impaired and requiring care from his brother. He claimed to regret the murder, not morally, but because it had ruined his life. He never apologized sincerely to Renée's family. On November 24, 2022, Issei Sagawa died of pneumonia in Tokyo. He was 73 years old. And he died a free man. Outrage. Issei Sagawa's story is one of the most horrifying and surreal cases in modern history. It's not just about the murder and cannibalism, it's about how a man who admitted to monstrous crimes could manipulate legal systems, profit from tragedy, and live in the spotlight for years. It exposes the failures of international justice, the dark side of media sensationalism, and the chilling truth that monsters don't always hide in the shadows. Sometimes, they're right there in front of the camera. Thank you for watching this in-depth story on haunted syntax. If this story disturbed you, subscribe for more true crime, real-life horror, and stories the world should never forget. Comment below what case you want us to cover next, and remember, stay safe. And stay haunted.